This video I will be giving you those things which are left in the previous two video. The surface of a metal part is finished by performing a machining, coating or hand finishing operation on that surface. Scraping, file fitting, rimming, lathe turning, shaping and grinding are some finishing operations. On many existing blueprints, the symbol for a finished surface is a letter capital V with its point touching the surface to be finished drawn with an angle of 60 degree between the sides of the capital V. Numbers may be placed within the angle formed by the sides of the capital V to represent the type of finish to be applied to that particular surface. When a part is to be finished on the surface, the abbreviation FAO is sometimes used to represent finish all over. Some factor the symbol on soft order, but not necessarily on drawings according to what they call a finish code. Examples taken at random are as follows: 1. Zinc chromate primer, 2. darkened primer, 3. aluminum primer, 9. lobe and shellac. However, it is a more common practice to write a finish specification to show such material and portion of a particular assembly is to be finished. Many manufacturers in the aerospace industry have adopted the root mean square, that is RMS, micro-inch system of surface roughness designation. This system has been standardized by the National Aerospace Standard Committee in specification NAS 30 and is also set forth in MIL STD-10A. All new drawings of machine castings, machine forgings and other machine parts will use the method of specifying surface finish. Surface roughness is a term used to designate recurrent or random irregularities that may be considered as being superimposed upon a plane or wavy surface. On smooth machined surfaces, these irregularities generally have a maximum crest to crest distance of not greater than 0.010 inches and a height that may vary from 0.001 to 0.00005 inches. Waviness should not be confused with roughness, as the crest distance are much greater, generally running from 0.04 to 1.00 inches, that is 0.10 to 2.54 centimeter, and the height as much as several thousand of an inch. The need for a simple control of the surface quality of a machine part by means of production drawings has long been apparent. Dimensional tolerance as well as process, finish, grind and polish limit the surface characteristic in a general way, but are not sufficiently specifically described the desired result. Certain machining process such as grinding could produce several degrees of smoothness, as the decision as to which degrees was intended generally was made in the past by the shop or the vendor. By means of the RMS system of surface roughness designation, it becomes possible for the engineering department of any company to specify precisely the degree of finish required and for the shop to produce the specified finish without resorting to judgment. The RMS average is a unit of measurement of surface roughness and is expressed in micro-inches. The micro-inch is 1 millionth, that is 0.000001 part of the US customary system linear inch. The RMS average is chiefly affected by the highest and lowest deviations from a mean surface and is a mathematical indication of average surface roughness. The National Aerospace Standard Committee has selected a series of preferred roughness numbers that cover the range of aircraft requirements. These numbers are 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 40, 100, 250 and 500. All these numbers, with the exceptions of the number 1, are used by manufacturers. They indicate maximum allowable or acceptable roughness of the surface on which they are specified in RMS microinches. Engineers have a fairly clear conception of finish characteristic when expressed in terms of their machining process used to produce a surface finish. It is therefore necessary for the designer to designate this surface condition as an RMS finish number. I will be giving a figure which is a table of roughness number for surface finish designation. In order to allow the machines of latitude in developing the special finish, drawing specify the maximum roughness allowable. Any smoother finish will be acceptable as long as economy is not sacrificed. The shop may develop the specified finish by whatever method is the most practical. Surface defects, flaws, irregularities and waves that generally occur in only a few planes will be handled by the inspection department. The shop and engineering departments must use the standard reference examples for comparison with machine parts. By visual inspection and by feel, they can check the completed surfaces. In borderline cases, the surface can be checked by instruments called the profilometer and the Bush analyzer. There are tracer point instruments that measure the surface roughness when drawn along the surface to be measured. The RMS number all drawings always are called out by the use of standard symbol illustrated in this figure, which I will giving you. In this figure, the A illustrates. The roughness number must always be of the left side of the long leg close to the horizontal bar as indicated by X-axis in the illustrations. The roughness of natural surface is not specified unless such surfaces are critical because of functional or manufacturing requirements. The finish of such terms are as drilled holes, rimmed holes and spot faces is not usually specified if the maximum roughness to be produced will be acceptable. The roughness of the fillets and chamfers conforms to the rougher of the two connected or adjacent surfaces unless otherwise indicated. Unless otherwise specified, a symbol used on a coated surface always signifies that a control applies the parent metal surface before plating or coating. Lay may be defined on the purpose of the discussion as the direction of the tool marks of the grain of the surface roughness. Waveness and tool lay designations also considered in the National Aerospace Standard Commission specification NAS 30 and not yet adopted by all manufacturers. The symbol in figure B indicates RMS 500. This is very rough, low grade A clean surface resulting by heavy cuts and coarse feeds in milling, turning, sharpening, and boring, as well as from rough filing and rough drilling, grinding. This is also the natural finish of some forgings and sand castings. It is not used for aluminum alloys and other soft metals. For surfaces in tension or where not sensitivity is a factor, it may be used on the secondary item but is generally not called out as a finish for aircraft missile parts. Now in this figure, C is the symbol of RMS 250. This is a medium machine finish and is fairly inexpensive to produce. In D, the symbol for RMS 100, the finish is generally known as a smooth machine finish and is produced by high-grade machine work in which relatively high speed and fine feeds are used in taking light cube with well sharpened cutters. Now E is the symbol of the RMS 40. This is a fine machine finish produced by a carbide or diamond bore medium surface or cylindrical grind. Rough emery but rims, burnish and similar operations. Root means square 20. A very fine finish is indicated by the symbol of figure F. This finish is produced by the cylindrical or surface grind, very smooth rim, smooth emery bowl, buff and coarse to medium lap or move. The extremely smooth finishes are indicated by G, H, N, I and J. These finishes are produced by boring, tapping, micro hone, polishing or buffing. Root means square 10 and the finer finishes may have either a dull or bright appearance depending upon the method used to produce them. The surface appeared must not be considered in judging quality, but the degree of smoothness must be determined by feel or roughness measuring instrument. Now process code. Process code. Many manufacturers in the aeroplane industry use symbols in what they call the process code. Example: R, A, anodized, B, chromodized, C, cadmium plated, D, dichromate, W number 7, H, decrease in vapor, degreaser, and S, sandblast. These code letters simply the instructions required on drawing and consume much less space than would otherwise be required. Now abbreviation. The use of abbreviation is not encouraged in the aerospace industry except where a saving of space is necessary. Most companies prefer the use of capital letters of drawings and gently restrict the use of small or bracket lowest case letters of reports, manuals and other technical publications where they are used along with capital letters. The period one is used after an abbreviation only where the abbreviation spells an English word. For example, ADD for additional and AIL as for aileron are used with periods. Because the word odd and all add and all are common English words. In any case of doubt about the use of an abbreviation, the word of words should be given in full. Each company has standardized its abbreviation in accordance with MIL-STD-12, a military specification for government drawings. Next topic is soft sketch. A soft sketch may be anything from a simple line drawing such as shown in this figure to a rather complex and detailed drawing, something like a standard engineering drawing. The purpose of a soft sketch is to convey information concerning to repair of a part or structure, to illustrate a proposed modifications, to provide information for engineering drafters from which they can make standard engineering drawings, and for various other uses where an illustration is necessary to convey technical information. Due care will be exercised in the preparation of a soft sketch so that it will prevent a good appearance. The information it contains is complete and accurate, and it conveys the information that it is intended to convey. The aviation maintenance technician should develop as much skill as possible in preparing soft sketches. Such sketches are often necessary in preparing a repair proposal for approval by the FAA. The sketches becomes a part of the maintenance and repair record for repairs that are not documented by the manufacturer of FAA publications. Now, sketching, in which there is a basic sketching. Number 1. Few aircraft technicians are professional draftsmen and the depth of skill is not required for aircraft maintenance, but it is essential that a technician be able to graphically express himself well enough to describe a repair, or to be able to make a simple drawing of a part that must be made. The sketch may be quite simple, but it should contain all of the information that is needed to make the part or the repair. Sketching is the form of graphics most used by the technician, and one that is easy to master to the level that allows us to express ourselves. The most important requisite for sketching is that we understand the principle of the basic forms of drawing that are used and be able to break our view down into the component shapes. Almost all sketches we need to make for aircraft maintenance are either orthographic or isometric. If a simple front and top view will do, it is easy to look at the part and make a sketch showing the shape of the object, and then we can place the extension line and dimensions where they are needed. Rather than make a 3-view drawings of the object, we may find then an isometric sketch will make the part easier to visualize. By their very nature, sketches are made without the use of drafting instruments, but one of the greatest aids to sketching is a pad of paper that is ruled in squares. The type of paper is available with either 4 or 5 squares to the inch. And angles are easily estimated on square ruled paper by making triangle, as well as we see them in this figure. A 45-degree angle is formed in a triangle having 2 equal sides. A 30-degree angle is formed when a long side of a triangle is 5 units long and the short side 3. The other angle of this triangle is 60 degree. A 50-degree angle can be approximated by making the long side 5 units and the short side 3. The other angle of this triangle is 60 degree. A 15-degree angle can be approximated by making the long side 5 units and the short side only 1 and 1.5 units. The circle is easily sketched by making a point as the center and then making 4 marks, each an equal distance from the center of an horizontal and vertical lines. Then between each of these marks, the same distance from the center, make 4 more marks. Now slightly sketch a curved line through all 8 of these points. Almost any shape we see can be broken down into no more than 4 basic forms, and if we will master sketching these forms, we can acceptably sketch almost any part we need. A cube is drawn by first laying out the center line, which is always vertical. Now draw the edges of the top sides so they extend out of the equal angles and the distances from the center vertical edge. Complete the top of the cube with lines parallel to these edges you have just drawn. Draw vertical lines to form the outer edge parallel with the center line. And draw in the bottom edges which are parallel to the top edges. These cubes can be made to look more like a solid object by shading the sides and top so they will appear as though the light were sketching them with different intensities. A cylinder is quite easy to draw by sketching the top of the cube and then drawing an ellipse touching the center of each of the sides. Now draw the sides straight down and finish with half of an ellipse just like that of the top. This forms the bottom. Shade the sides of the cylinder with a series of areas so it will look as though it were three-dimensional rather than flat. A cone is made in much the same way as a cylinder, except that only part of the ellipse is used from the bottom of the cone and the sides taper up the point. Shading gives it the appearance of being three-dimensional. The sphere is simply a circle with shading in the lower quarter. Practice these 4 basic and you will able to sketch almost any shape you need. Number 2 is the repair sketches. When a repair is made in a certificated aircraft or a form FAA 337 must be completed, describing the repair with enough detail that it can be approved by the FAA. These sketches must show the location of the repair, the material used by the repair, and enough detail that the repair could be duplicated if it were necessary. This amount of information is given in the simple sketch in the figure which I will giving you. To make a sketch, first determine what views are necessary to portray the object. Then block in the views using light construction line. Next, complete the details, darken the object outline and sketch extension and dimensions lines. Complete the drawing by adding notes, dimensions, title, date and when necessary the sketcher's name. There is some applied geometry in the aircraft drawings. In the construction of aircraft drawing we must make use of geometry, and here we see the way some of the more common layout problems as solved by the use of applied geometry. Now first, find the center of a line. We can find the center of a line AB by using a pencil compass. Open the compass to distance slightly longer than the halfway across the line and draw arcs A1, A2 and B1, B2. Connect the intersection of these two arcs with a straight line which will divide line AB into two equal parts, and the line we have just drawn will perpendicular to line AB and is called perpendicular bisector. Number 2 is find the center of a circle. Draw two lines AB and CD across the circle. These lines are called chords. Erect perpendicular bisector AB, small AB and small CD to these lines as we have just done, and these lines will cross toward the center of the circle. See the figure. Number 3. Draw a line perpendicular to a baseline and through a point. Our problem is to draw a line from point C to line AB, that is perpendicular to line AB. To do this, we open our compass to a distance greater than that from the line to point C and using C as the center. Draw arcs 1 and 2 on line AB using the same setting of the compass, and the point where line 1 intersect line AB as the center. Make arc 1A, 1B. A and B are underneath of 1 on the opposite side of the line AB from point C. Cross this as arc with another arc 2A, 2B. A and B are underneath of 2. Using the same setting of the compass but with the intersection of line with line AB as the center, join the intersection of these lines, these arcs with point C, and you have a line that is perpendicular to line AB and which passes through point C. Number 4 is divide a line into an equal number of parts. If we have line AB as shown in the figure, which I will be giving you, of an odd length, and we want to divide it into 5 equal parts, we can draw a line AC of any length at any angle through point A and divide it into 5 equal parts. In this case, we have made line AC more than 5 inches long and have marked it every inch. Draw a line from the 5-inch mark on AC to point B. Now draw line parallel to 5B through each of the 1-inch marks and where these lines cross line AB. They form division marks, each one 1/5 of the distance between A and B. Now see the figure. Fifth is bisect an angle. If we have an angle ABC, we can divide it into 2 angles so that ABD is equal to angle ACD. Use A as the center and with their compass set at a convenient distance. Make arc 1 inches line AC and arc 2 on line AD. Use the same setting of the compass and will point 1 as the center. Mark arc 1A, 1B between the original angle. Now using the same setting and point 2 as the center, cross the first arc with arc 2A, 2B. Draw a line from the intersections of the 2 arc to point A and this line will bisect ABC. New topic: graphic presentation of information. It is often helpful to present information in a graphic form that is easier to visualize than columns of figures. One of the more familiar graphs used by the A&P technician is the electric wire chart that is included in Advisory Circular 43.13-A. We have this chart duplicated in the figure which I will be giving you. Body is made up of vertical lines representing the optical wire gauge, that is in bracket AWG wire sizes, and horizontal lines representing the number of feet of wire that will produce the allowable voltage drop for each of the electrical system listed in the separate box to the left of the main chart. Drawn diagonally across the charts are a series of parallel lines representing the current flow. By using this chart, we can find the wire size that is required to carry a given amount of current without exceeding the allowable voltage drop. For example, if we have a 28 volt system and need to carry 125 amperes for 60 feet without exceeding the allowable voltage drop, we would find the horizontal line representing 60 feet in in the 28 volt column and follow it to the left until it intersects the diagonal line representing 125 amperes. This intersection is between the vertical lines representing 1 gauge and 1 by 0 gauge wire. This wire on the right is the larger of the two, so we would use 1 by 0, or as it is more often called, an odd gauge wire. You will notice that there is a 3 heavy curves extending across the chart from the tower left to the about the centers of the right side. These curves represent the stability of the wire to carry the current without overheating. Curve 1, the upper curve, represents the continuous rating of the wire when rotated in bundles or conduit. If the intersection of the current and the voltage drop lines are above this curve, the wire will carry the current without generating excessive heat, and it can be routed in a bundle or in a conduit. If the intersection is below curve 1 but is above curve 2, the wire can be used to carry the current continuously but must be routed by itself in free air. It is where bundled or routed in a conduit there would be enough heat generated that the wires would likely be damaged. If the intersection is between curves 3 and 2, the wire will carry the current intermittently. That is, current flow must be limited to 2 minutes. If the wire is short enough that voltage drop is no problem, we can use the current capability curves to find the size of wire needed. If we must carry 125 amperes in a wire routed through a conduit, we will have to use 1 by 0 gauge wire. If the wire is routed by itself in free air, we can use the wire is routed by itself in free air. We can use the wire is routed by itself in free air. We can use the wire we can use a 4 gauge wire. The 4 gauge wire would carry the load intermittently with an ample factor of safety. Since the intersection is well to the left of the 4 gauge vertical line, the 4 columns of figures in the circuit voltage section of this chart represent the number of feet for the allowable voltage drop for each of these systems. We are allowed a 1 volt drop for continuous operation in a 28 volt system, a 0.5 volt drop in a 14 volt system, 4 volts in a 115 volt system, and a 7 volt drop in a 200 volt system. This chart is set up with this same relationship between the columns. 15 amps of flow in an 8 gauge wire will produce a 1 volt drop in 100 feet. This is allowable for a 28 volt system. Since you are allowed only half volt drop in a 14 volt system, you can use no more than 50 feet of wire. In a 115 volt system, you can have 400 feet of 8 gauge wire. Since you are allowed to a drop of 4 volts in 200 volt system, you are allowed a 7 volt drop. In a 200 volt system, you are allowed a 7 volt drop. You can use 700 feet of wire before the voltage drop becomes excessive. There are many other ways of presenting information with graphs. Pie or circular charts can show the percentage of a part of an item to the whole. Graph can show the relationship of 2 or more variables, as I have given earlier in the mathematics chapter, that is graphs and their representation and their use in aircraft maintenance. I have not given till now the things that is of shape symbols. We will go for the electrical symbol. We had given material symbols, but we have not given shape symbols and electrical symbols. Shape symbols I will giving you, but electrical symbols and all those I will be giving you another video. Now shape symbols is what? Symbols can be used to excellent advantage When it is desired to show the shape of an object, typical shape symbols used on aircraft drawings are shown in this figure, which I will be giving you. Shape symbols are usually shown on a drawing as a revolved or removed section. Very much important to care about the care about the drawings and use of drawings. See, care and use of drawings means drawings are both expensive and valuable. Consequently, they should be handled carefully. Open drawings slowly and carefully to prevent tearing the paper. When the drawing is open, smooth out the fold lines instead of bending them backward. Now, number 2, to protect drawing from damage, never spread them on the floor or lay them on surface covered with tools or other objects that may make holes in the paper. Hands should be free of oil, grease or other unclean matter that can soil or smudge the print. Now, number 3, never make notes or marks on a print, as they may confuse other persons and lead to incorrect work. Only authorized persons are permitted to make notes or changes or prints, and they may sign and date any changes they make. Now, number 4, when finished with a drawing, fold and return it to its proper place. Prints are folded originally in a proper size for filing, and care should be taken so the original folds are always used. The drawings are made by the instruments known as drafting instruments, and their care must be very much important. So I am giving a topic on care of drafting instruments. Detail on care of drafting instruments. Good drawing instruments are expensive. Precision tools, reasonable care given to them during their use and storage will prolong their service life. T-squares, triangles and scales should not be used or placed where the surfaces or edges may be damaged. Use a drawing board only for its intended purpose and not in a manner that will mar the working surface. Compasses, dividers and pens will provide better results with less annoyance if they are correctly shaped and sharpened, and they are not damaged by careless handling. Store drawing instruments in a place where they are not likely to be damaged by contact with other tools or equipment. Protect compass and divider point by inserting them into a piece of soft rubber or similar material. Never store ink pens without first cleaning and drying them thoroughly. Microfilm. What is microfilm? The practice of recording drawings, parts, catalogs and maintenance and overall manuals on microfilm was introduced in recent years. Microfilm is regular 16 mm or 35 mm film. Since 35 mm film is larger, it provides a better reproduction of drawings depending on the size of the drawing to be reproduced. A varying number of drawings can be photographed on one reel of 35 mm film. The view or read drawings or manuals on a reel of film, you need either a portable 35 mm film projector or a microfilm reader or viewer. The advantages of microfilm is that several reels which represent perhaps hundreds of drawings require only a small amount of storage space. A person working on an aircraft may need to refer to a specific dimension. He can place the reel of a microfilm in a projector, locate the drawing or desired information, and read the dimension if he has to study a detail of the drawing or work with a drawing for a long period of time. An enlarged photographic reproduction can be made using the microfilm as a negative. Microfilm of drawing has many other uses and advantages. However, microfilm is not intended to replace the need for original drawings, especially where the originals are modified and kept current over a long period of time. When drawings are filmed on continuous reel, corrections can be made by cutting out superseded drawing and splicing in the revised one. When these corrections becomes numerous, the procedure becomes impractical and is discarded in favor of again filming all the related drawings. A method that allows correction to be made easily is to be photograph the drawings and then cut up the film into individual slides. This has one disadvantage. It requires considerable time to convert the film into slides, insert them into transparent protective envelopes, and arrange them in sequence so the desired drawings can be located quickly. A 70mm microfilm has become available very recently. With its larger size, drawings can be reproduced as individual frames or slides, and these can be inserted in regular paper envelopes and kept in an ordinary file. When held to the light, this large microfilm can be read with the naked eye. Now number 2 is microfiche. Microfiche is a variation of microfilm which places approximately 288 standard 8 by half inches into 11 to 8 by 8 into half into 11 8 by half into 11 sheets of printed materials on a sheet of film 4 inches into 6 inches. A complete library of information may be kept in one 3-ring binder when it is printed on microfiche. Microfiche must be read on a special reader. Some readers have a printers which will allow you to copy a page on paper, so you have a hard copy of the information you wish to study. Note: hard copies should be destroyed at the end of every day to avoid using material that has been superseded. Now computers. Computers are being used in aviation manufacturing, operation and maintenance facilities extensively. Developments in both hardware and software are constantly creating new ways to which the computers may be adapted to the aviation industry. In manufacturing and modification facility, the computer has become a valuable tool in design. Computer assigned design (CAD) is being used by many. Computer assisted design (CAD) is being used by many, if not most, modern design terms. Computers may be used not only to assist in solving complex design formulas, but may be doing most of the actual drawing, both on screen and on paper. CAD systems allow the engineers to view mirror images, rotations, sectional view, and to make changes as easily as a few keystrokes. Large formal plotters will transfer the ideas from the screen to standard paper formats. Computer assisted maintenance (CAM) can record, perform maintenance, find repair procedures, locate illustrations, track equipment performance, account for time in service, order parts, predict failures, and much more. New high-powered microcomputers and reasonably priced software package have brought this technology into even the smaller repair facilities.